team closed out the game after a fast start and then kind of slugged around a little bit. And credit to Duke. Their players and their staff are having a good plan to slow us down some. But a lot of it also, we got to do a better job. We had some miscues that were uncharacteristic and just regrouped at halftime. And the decision was simple. Let's play Hurricane football and play as a team, play together, and put forth our best effort and execute at a high level. And really proud of our guys for that second half performance and taking control of the game and being 1-0 on the day. Questions, please.
Your third time this year erasing a double-digit deficit. You were asked this after Cal, but now you're an expert at it. Why does this team never get grafted?
Well, I think a couple things. They know they're capable. That's number one. There's a lot of trust and confidence in each other. Number two, football now, especially with technology, the cat and mouse game, the adjustment back and forth game is really different. It's a whole new level, right? You saw it. They were creating some matchups there in the second quarter that were difficult to contend with, and we had to change some things up and disguise some things a little bit better, and then just flat out execute on some other things. So there's just no flinch in the group, regardless of a bad play, an injury, a tough call we have to deal with, a deficit. So it's awesome being around this group. And Chapter 9 ended in 1-0, and after today it's on to Chapter 10.
CANES has gotten obviously a ton of attention all year. Obviously tied the single season record here. Everybody's called quarterback Q, which is a big deal. X is right there alongside him on top of his list in the record books. Just how nice was it that they get to share kind of this moment? You got to win, obviously, which is the most important.
Yeah.
For Cam next.
Cam owes me a touchdown back. And X, they both played their behinds off. They always do. They have a unique chemistry. But I think the quarterback room and all the receivers and tight ends do, which is very different than it was 2 years ago. That was very difficult. It was a hurdle, a mountain to get over, quite honestly. And I just think a lot of good people and hard work come together to make it happen. Those two guys, as much as they're gaining all these accolades, they don't talk about it. Do they want it? Do they think it's? I'm sure they do. I think we all, like to be recognized and rewarded and praised, but it's not the end-all be-all for them. They want to win, and I think the best thing that they do is when we're behind like we were, is the way they just go back and forth on the sideline, encouraging their teammates, pushing their teammates, and just knowing and trusting that if we just keep playing, we're going to find a way.
How much have you seen them build that chemistry since Cam got here? Just from when he got here to now, just the two of them being able to build the bond, the trust, and both on and off the field.
They build it. I think it's neat to watch them go at it because they'll fight like an old couple as well now. And that's a good thing. That means there's a competitive edge to both of those guys where they want to win. They want to be right all the time, and they're not afraid to be headstrong and to be an alpha about it. Excuse me. And so that's what you see. You see it on the practice field. You see it in extra reps after practice, and then in turn on game day, it shows up. It shows up often. We had a couple drops today now. We had a couple really critical ones as a team that we got to get back and work on. Our contested catch rate, I think, was a little bit better in previous games. It wasn't great today, but that's okay. We have a chance to get back and work on that and work on some of our third down stuff and tighten up our passing game.
You mentioned it a minute ago, but what did Duke do to make things difficult for you when they went on that 28-3 run, and then how did you guys adjust to it on defense?
It created matchups. We were playing a lot of man. Some switch routes, pick routes, tailback adjusted out of the backfield, saw the linebacker walk out there on them. That's a tough match. And by the way, great throw by their quarterback, Malik Murphy, and some great catches by them too. They had some snags that were pretty impressive. And then sometimes in one or in three, our free safety made a couple of great plays, and some of the middle open stuff, I think you saw that too. We're a little bit more diverse with our coverages in the second half, and I think when you play a team like that they're so reliant on the quick game, and you saw they had 2 3-and-outs, but then they started chucking the ball down the field and made some plays. So a matter of adjusting back and forth. That's what we saw. They did credit to them and their staff. They did a good job with that. And credit to our defensive line. Those guys really showed up, and they were a big impact in that second half.
Mario Jadis Richard obviously suffered an injury, looked pretty bad, but he was having a pretty good game up until that point. Made some great plays. Just talk about that young man.
Yeah, he's a great one. He got hurt. We'll evaluate and see where it's at, and prayers up to him and the family and whatnot. When you Sucks, man.
Stands out for me is Roman Federici, the freshman. I saw his name called. What are your thoughts about the way he played today?
Him, he always plays really well.
Yeah.
That guy is raised like the way you should raise your son. He's on the field. He's an assassin off the field. He's a gentleman, super polite young man, hard worker. He's always finding ways to make himself, his teammates better. Very quiet, keeps to himself, but his game speaks loudly. And he's a guy that we've depended on since game one, and he's exceeded expectations.
Can you talk about Xavier and his impact today and the significance of what he did today?
Yeah, well, Xavier, I think, has an impact on our program every day. Today was special for the team because of the win, number one, the most important thing. And for him, become the leading receiver in Miami Hurricane history is also just a monumental accomplishment. So credit to him for all that hard work. Credit to him and his family for all the sacrifices made to allow him to one day become a Miami Hurricane. And again, to his teammates for being such a great supporting cast because, again, number one, the W is the most important thing. Number two, being the all-time leading receiver at Miami is a really big thing.
You said the quarterback room was a mountain to get over, and you look at a day like today, you can see 400 yards, 5 catches.
Not the quarterback room, the chemistry between the quarterbacks and the wide receiver. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's what I meant. It was there was no connection. You know what I mean? Like in the summer, not in the summer. That's not true. It was before that. When Cam got here, first thing he wanted to do was get everybody's number, everybody's contact information so he could round them up and spend time together. And when one of the guys said, well, I'll be throwing with a couple NFL guys in Fort Lauderdale, he said, well, you better be playing in the NFL this year because I ain't throwing the ball to you. They better throw the ball to you. And that receiver came back down in a hurry. Why is that important? Because when you have command of a room and you have the performances and the ability to back up that type of command, that's strong. And then there's buy-in. And then when alphas get together, you know how it is, man. They start banging heads, right? And the key is getting these alphas that are banging heads to keep working together and work their way to go against the team on the other side. And that's what Cam and all those wide receivers have done.
All right, when you came here and laid out what you hoped blueprint for what you were trying to do, did you envision this level of offense? Did you ever see it was that you would build something that would average 46, 47, whatever it is once a game?
Well, it's always the goal, right?
But that
it's unique, right? What's going on is unique. But again, it kind of works hand in hand. I think if you look at the way we're playing, there's a lot that goes to it, right? Time of possession's gotten really high. Yards per play is really high. We've had some ups and downs on defense, but either way, we find a way to play well when it really, really matters. And so we complement each other really well. We try to, sometimes a play count really favors the offense, which really helps the defense as well. And it allows you to just push ahead and get teams uncomfortable. You put pressure on them to try to keep up. When we went up by a second score by 15 or 16, there's a lot of pressure on the other side to keep up, and that's when mistakes sometimes happen. We're there to get them, and that's when it really starts. The magic starts to happen. So, to your question, which I didn't answer at all, it's a great standard to set. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep getting better.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Miami Hurricanes Talk by Danny, presented by Lorraine Sports. If you want to join Canes Connection, please go to canesconnection.com or follow them on YouTube and become a member today. You get good items. You get good information on that. If you want to order the shirt, We Bring the Smoke, presented by Lorraine Sports, please go to lorrainesports.myshopify.com to place that order. I'll put every link in the description. Take on the 53-31 win today. My thoughts. One, I just felt first half we got too comfortable playing man. Duke made us pay for a couple of those. 21-17 at half. After the TD to start the third quarter, they went up 28-17. From that moment on, it was 36-3 from that moment on. 405 total yards, 400 passing yards for Cam today. It was just complete dominance in every sense of the word. I just felt we did what we had to do. but I will say some trepidation. I don't like the fact that defense made adjustments later. I'm glad we did them, but I'd like to see them a little bit earlier. I would also like to see the fact that we have to get in the zone earlier, because Duke was killing us with man in the first half and even into that first TD drive of the second half. But I really felt we adjusted, then we started to roll, and once we started rolling, the turnovers started coming. We started forcing those. We got Cam going. The TDs kept coming. Everything on offense started to click, and the phases really started to get going there in the second half. But I do want to see us fix some things defensively. I don't want to wait till later in the game to have to make the adjustments, especially go from man to zone. We got to do a better job at that. We got to do a better job. And I looked at the numbers in the second half. Look at the numbers in the second half. Look at our drives in the second half. Okay? And you get an idea. 69, 38, 51. The pick by Cam going across his body. 5 touchdowns in the second half. The fumble, I didn't like the fact that we got caught on a blind side. Cam got hit from the blind side and fumbles the football. We have got to do a better job there. I didn't like. We got to clean some things up there. Tackling has to be better. Didn't like the way we had the angle. We kept missing angles in the first half. When you look at the numbers in the second half, look at the yardage in the second half. We had 305 yards in the second half, total offense. 305 in the second half. While Duke, on the other hand, had in the second half Duke had 193 yards total offense in the second half. 193 in the 305 to 193 in the second half. Okay. That should tell you something right there. 4 3-and-outs. We had 2, but that was early. That was back-to-back drives in the first quarter. And we had 3 overall there. Everything clicked in the second half. Everything clicked in the second half. I look at the half. I look at look at these numbers in the second half. 36-10, 305 to 191. We held Duke to 25 yards rushing in the second half. We pick off Murphy twice. The penalties, we cleaned that up a little bit. We had 4 in the first half. Cleaned that up with only 1 in the second half. 3 for 4 on third downs. We had 30 plays in the second half, averaging 10.2 yards a play. We forced 3 turnovers. We forced 3 turnovers. The 2 there. But let me tell you this. I feel we did a good job there overall. I felt we did what we had to do. We did what we needed to do to win this ball game. But yes, we have to clean up some things because, as Jesse Palmer said on the broadcast today, elite teams like Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon, they have receiver rooms and they have defenses that will make you pay for having slow starts, and they won't let you get back in the game in the second half. We have to start faster, and we have to do so sooner. We can't be having these comebacks over and over again because good teams will not let you do that. So, yeah, we got to clean that up before we go up to Georgia Tech next Saturday. Don't have a time yet. If anyone gets that in the chat before I leave, please let me know. The first college football rankings are out Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on ESPN. I suspect we'll probably be in the 4 to 7 range, around there. So that's where I think we'll be. Now let's give out the report card. Offense, I'm going to give a B, only because of the slow start in the first half. We got after the 14-0 start, we started to bog down a little bit in the first half, but in the second half, the offense got going, and it really took off from there. So I probably will give a B, though the interception hurt there. We got to do better there. Defense, I'm going to give a B+. Reason I say that is because penalties, we did clean that up in the second half, but the defense stepped up when it had to make plays. It really clamped down. We forced 3 turnovers in the second half, 2 interceptions and a fumble. Everything started clicking there in the second half. Wish we would have gotten the adjustments from man to zone a little sooner, but I felt we did a good job there. Special teams, I'm going to actually give an A for that. I mean, solid effort from Andy. We did a good job overall. I felt a couple things we could have done a little differently, but overall, we could clean a few things up. Now, let me get on the offensive penalties. 5 defensive penalties today. We've got to clean that up. Pass interference, holding. We had unnecessary roughness, 15. The PI, 15. And face mask, half the distance. We have got to clean those up because very good teams, elite teams, will make us pay for those mistakes. But we did it. But we have to clean the defensive penalties up. So I did want to get that little issue squared away there. I looked at special teams. X had 146 yards receiving. CJ 115 on kickoff returns. Good job from Joyce today. And of course, we can always depend on Andy with a big field goal there, 29 yards. So that's what I feel happened today. Now let me start giving out game balls. My first game ball is going to go to Xavier Restrepo. 146 yards, receiving 3 touchdowns today. What more can you say about this man? What more can you say about this man? He is the all-time receiving yards leader in Hurricanes history. I could tell you that much for sure. My second game ball is going to go to Cam Ward. 25 for 41, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Did throw a pick there. Very good job. My third game ball is going to go to Mark Fletcher Jr. Given what's gone on with his dad, losing his dad, the funeral service on Thursday, to get that TD late, that's just a great moment to honor his dad that way. And I'll even add a special game ball for his dad. I know he's watching in heaven somewhere. Very proud. So a special game ball, 2 game balls to Mark Fletcher for that. And my final game ball, I'm going to give to the defense, the entire defense, for stepping up in the second half the way it did. They were just absolutely dominant in the second half. Absolutely dominating in the second half. What they did was hold Duke to 3 points after that TD they allowed to start the third quarter. When you see the way they did today in the second half, it was just absolutely phenomenal what it did. So those are my 4 game balls for the week. So I want to close with this. I felt we did a good job. I felt we can get better in some areas. Like I said, we got to clean some things up, and we get ready for Georgia Tech. And I'll talk more about them later, early next week. Guys, I don't have to tell you about that. We all know what happened last year, but I'll talk more about that later next week. So enjoy this win today, but turn the page tomorrow and get ready to face Georgia Tech up in Atlanta next Saturday. Take care. Have a great rest of your night. And let's go, Canes.